Hello, my name is Andrew Falarka. This is my presentation for what was you do presentation for the last week of our class. I selected discussion 4. Uh, your firm has just added 6 H-1B workers to your 50-person department. You have been asked to help get one of the workers on board. Your manager wants you to introduce him to the other team members, provide him with some basic company background and information, and explain to him how work is done within your organization. Your manager also asks you to help your new coworker become familiar with the community, including residential areas, shopping centers, restaurants, and recreation activities. Your goal would be to help the coworker be productive and comfortable with his new surroundings as soon as possible. How do you feel about taking on this responsibility? What would you do? I selected this discussion. Being from the military, this is very important for the Navy. It's very helpful for us to get in touch with our sailors ahead of time. So this is kind of what we've already dealt with before. And the Navy does have these sponsorship programs set up at each command. It's a inspectable item from a larger scale Navy to ensure that we're taking care of this so that our new sailors coming into the area are not confused about where to go as for work, or just helping them get used to a new environment. So the responsibilities I just relisted, basically what the book had mentioned: acclimate with new surroundings, meet coworkers, explain the work, and assist with the transition to the new job, home environment. And like I said, this is something I've already have experience with from the Navy. I'm very comfortable with this. I don't think it's the way the book worded it. It's made it seem like it was kind of sketchy, but I just think that's just the way they choose to make the words. I think it's a very great idea to sponsor people like this, help them get settled in, especially someone coming from a different country, whether it's on a work visa or whatever. They're there to help you, your job, your company, and working in your department. They're there to help you. So I think it's very good, and it shows that the company is going above and beyond to ensure that they're taking care of their employees. Acclimating with new surroundings, I mean, it could be difficult for anyone coming into a new place. I know when we PCS from state to state or even overseas, it gets a little scary because you're not sure where to go, and stuff like that. So that's a very big plus that the company was trying to do there. Explain the work completion. I just kind of threw that in there. There might be certain projects you guys are on, or deadlines you guys have to be in. I think it's very important to let people know what they're getting into. Really, I mean, you go to school for so long and you read the job description when you're going to apply, but it's not always necessarily in depth as you think it is, and it's good to know exactly what is expected of you. It's excuse me, assistant with transition to new job or the environment. It's probably a completely new experience going from one country to U.S. I can see how that could be difficult for some people, and I think it's a good idea to gather everything you need prior to that. So I did make a preparation slide of um, how I would prepare for all of this. The first one was ensure employees have similar tasks. Um, I wanted that's just thrown up there to make sure that they're not just um, giving these services to just one person. I feel like if that was the case, that would be a little bit sketchy, and I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this at all. But if I know that all the other 6 H-1B employees that are coming in are all receiving the same type of treatment, then I would be more comfortable with that. Gathering information on the employee. I'll be assisting, basically what job they're going to be holding, what they're going to be doing. That way I know exactly what to expect from them, where they're going to be living. That way I can look and see if I know any places that are nearby, places to get food, groceries, gas, mechanical services, whatever that person may need, as well as learning from where that person's coming from. I know a lot of cultures are different than what we have here in the States, so I would like to get my research in to ensure that I'm not sending someone information that's going to culturally look bad for us, but also make them feel uncomfortable coming to this area. And gathering the information of the company's history and the current job project assignments for our department, and the expectations of each employee in the department. I'm sorry. And this is just something not only so the employee knows what they're responsible for, but what everyone else is going to be responsible for. A lot of times, certain departments still work together to complete one project, and it's good to know that what your actual responsibility is and what someone else's responsibility is going to be. That way, there's no crossfire there, and nothing gets lost in translation, which can be very bad for deadlines as well as just morale in general. When people are just running around looking confused at each other, that's definitely very bad for business. So upon a employee's arrival, like I said, for the military, normally if you're a sponsor, if they're flying in, say it's a younger sailor, if they're flying in, you're usually there to pick them up at the airport, take them to the barracks, or if they already have a place set up to stay, you take them to wherever they're going. Um, and I take them, pick them up from work maybe the first few days, let them know how to get to and from their residence and to work, just to get them acclimated with the job routes. I live in Southern California, so it's helpful to know how to avoid the traffic, and that's definitely something I'm sure a lot of other cities and places are familiar with. Introduce them to their team members. I really don't like the word coworker sometimes. Team member does sound a little bit better to me. Um, but yeah, just let them know who's going to be working with them. That way, everyone feels comfortable, at least with the first impression of just talking. Letting people know who's who, and then show them around the places where they're living and working. Like I said earlier, and actually possibly take them to lunch. That way, they know exactly where each food place is, each restaurant, or if they're just trying to get coffee, or just trying to get gas real quick or something like that, between lunch breaks or something like that. Um, it's always good to know and be familiar with your surroundings. I think it definitely helps people acclimate better and feel more comfortable with the person they're working with, um, whether you're their direct supervisor or just someone they'll be working next to, side by side to, for however long they're contracted out to the company. After all the initial showing around and stuff, I would definitely let the employee know that I am there to offer additional assistance after the first meet and getting to know the area, getting to know some of the people they work with. Uh, New issues arise always daily. Uh, you can never expect to not have anything not go smoothly. Uh, as they always say in the Navy, expect the best but prepare for the worst. I love that term. It's happened to me plenty of times during my days in the Navy. Um, but I would let the employee know that if any issues arrive at work, to come to me. May not be the supervisor, but I'm at least there, someone they work with daily, and regardless, we're going to see each other every day. And people don't always get along. That's just a fact of life. But in my eyes, as long as you can work together professionally without being inappropriate or unprofessional, um, you're just not going to like people. That's the way of life. Not everyone's going to get along, but as long as the work can continue to get done and no deadlines are being missed or late on work, that's fine. It's just like I said, that's just the way it is. Offering additional assistance, locating services to and from work. Sometimes roads close, and GPS, although is a very effective tool nowadays, doesn't always necessarily give you the fastest route um, back home. I know a lot of times leaving San Diego, there's always traffic in the afternoons, and I found my quicker ways to get home rather than using the GPS, just because sometimes it's unreliable and sometimes you lose service and you miss the turn, and then you're stuck in the traffic again. So that's not really set up as efficiently as they think. So, and working with GPSs, yeah. Yeah. The company policies and procedures, if they're anything like the Navy, they change a lot. There are a lot of policies and procedures the Navy has, and um, they do change daily. So it's very good to stay current with the policies that are set in place. Because if you've been there long enough at a company, you're familiar with the policies already, and anything that they change, sometimes it's minute, but it's better to stay up to date and be familiar with them rather than give out false information to somebody, and that just reflects badly on you as someone who's been there for a while. Whether you're a supervisor, like I said, or just the friendly team member. I always try to stick up on everything, especially in the Navy with those policies. They do change a lot. and they do strike out maybe like a paragraph and replace it with something else. So it was definitely pertinent to make sure that I was up to date on everything before giving out information to my sailors, or the other officers and reservists that I used to work with. Um, and it also shows that you're knowledgeable, and nothing wrong with that. Knowledge is power, right? Well, that will conclude my presentation for this week. Thank you all for an amazing 4 weeks in this class. Dr. K, thanks.